On June 10, 2006, 24-year-old Laurie Slilsinski disappeared without a trace from Auburn, Alabama. This came after confirming that she would be attending a pre-planned girls' night out at her best friend and co-worker's house. At her trailer home, her dog was left unattended, the air conditioner on, and the telephone cord missing. What could explain her mysterious disappearance? Did Laurie leave town in a hurry? Or was it something more sinister? Today, we're looking at a bizarre disappearance solved after 16 years, located in Lee County. Auburn is the largest city in eastern Alabama. It's also Alabama's fastest-growing metropolitan area and the 19th fastest-growing metro area in the United States since 1990. Unofficially nicknamed the loveliest village on the plains, Auburn is a melting pot for cultures with its southern hospitality. This historic college town is the home to Auburn University, one of the most recognized public universities in the nation. Today's story involves a former student of this university, Laurie Slilsinski. Laurie Ann Slilsinski was born to parents Casey and Arlene Slilsinski on September 21, 1981. Gifted with blue eyes and blonde hair, Laurie was always adored by her parents and her big brother, Paul. The family was originally from New York State but later moved south to the rural Alabama farm country near the town of Auburn when Laurie was just 13 years old. As a country girl being raised with animals, Laurie was an avid animal lover. According to her friends, Laurie was absolutely beautiful. She loved spending time with friends, watching movies, riding her bicycle, and playing video games. In addition to all that fun, she was also very studious, and her family tried to support her as much as they could. After finishing high school, Laurie enrolled in nearby Auburn University, where she majored in psychology with a minor in criminology. Her parents bought her a mobile home so that she could live off campus in a manicured trailer park that was popular with students. She was living alone with her beloved dog, Peanut, a Yorkshire Terrier. Her close bond with her family remained intact, with her mother calling every day to check up on her. In 2005, she graduated with honors from Auburn University. Soon after graduation, she took up a job in the East Alabama Mental Health Center while still living in the trailer park. She also made plans to go for her master's degree in psychology in the near future. Laurie's family was proud of her achievements, unaware of any foreshadowing of evil that was looming over her head. On June 10, 2006, 24-year-old Laurie had made plans for a girls' night at her best friend Lindsey Brown's house. They had plans to have a few drinks and watch a movie. Laurie first met Lindsey in their junior year at Auburn University, already impressed by Laurie's sweet, charming, and outgoing personality. The two girls became friends. The bond only grew stronger when they both got a job at the same mental health facility after completing graduation. Around 6:30 p.m. on June 10th, Laurie called Lindsey saying that she had to stop at the store, and then she'd head over to her house for the movie night. Unfortunately, she would never make it there. Lindsey grew worried when she did not hear from Laurie again that night or the following day. She called Laurie several times and left messages on her home answering machine, but she never heard back from her. When Laurie did not show up at her workplace on Monday, June 12th, Lindsey's concerns skyrocketed. It was very unusual for Laurie to miss work and not inform anyone. After another no-show at work on the following Tuesday, June 13th, Lindsey, along with another coworker, went to Laurie's house to check on her. When they reached the trailer home, Lindsey could not find Laurie anywhere. Upon entering, she found the door unlocked and the air conditioning on, which was pretty surprising. She also observed that Laurie's dog, Peanut, was inside his crate. He looked well-nourished and happy, as if someone was taking care of him. Amazingly, his crate was unsoiled, even though Laurie had been missing for several days at that point. Lindsey felt that something was amiss, as it was unlike Laurie to leave her beloved pet alone and unattended. Lindsey remembered that Laurie had placed 3 rugs on her kitchen floor as the dog refused to walk on the tile. These rugs were missing, along with the outside trash can when Lindsey entered. Later that same day, June 13, 2006, Laurie's mother, Arlene, got a call from her workplace regarding Laurie missing work 2 days in a row. Arlene immediately tried to call her but could not get a hold of her. Afraid for her daughter's well-being, Arlene immediately left for Auburn after her husband Casey informed her of their daughter's disappearance. Upon arrival, she entered Laurie's trailer and found a disturbing scene. She noticed the door was slightly ajar, and her bed was perfectly made, but there was no sign of Laurie. Her car was also missing. With a closer look, she noticed Laurie's kitchen rugs, a pillow from her couch, a Galileo thermometer, a green trash can that Laurie put a rake and shovel in, and the phone cord for her landline were all gone. Alarm bells rang as Arlene instantly realized something was horribly wrong. She officially reported her daughter missing, while still hoping that she would show up eventually. As the initial investigation was launched, and police scanned through Laurie's trailer home, they could not find any significant evidence that could link a possible suspect. However, they noticed there were obvious signs of struggle and scuff marks on the wall. There was semen discovered on Laurie's bedsheet, and traces of blood were also found on the doorknob. A coat hanger and a single golden hoop earring were also found at the scene. Police would soon recover surveillance footage on June 10, 2006, showing Laurie stopping at an Alabama Walmart. That was the last known sighting of Laurie, and nobody had any clue what happened to her after that. A tip would, however, soon come in later that afternoon. Arlene got a phone call from one of Laurie's friends, 25-year-old Daryl Richard Dennis, commonly referred to as Rick. Rick told Arlene that he met Laurie the day she went missing, and he thought she might have gone off to make a drug deal. Laurie had met Rick Dennis at a bowling alley where he worked. She often hung out there when she was still a student. Arlene knew him because Laurie invited him to spend Christmas with Laurie's family in 2005. Laurie felt bad for not having a family of his own. However, Arlene could not believe what Dennis was claiming, despite her daughter's close friendship with him. She did not believe that Laurie would ever be involved in drug dealing. She thought that he was simply lying through his teeth but didn't have any clue as to why. On June 14, 2006, 4 days after Laurie's disappearance at approximately 4:40 a.m., her car was found fully ablaze on an impasse near the bowling alley where Rick had previously been employed. From that point on, the investigation shifted from a missing persons case to a possible homicide. According to investigators, the fire destroyed any traces of evidence that would have possibly been found inside the car. However, Laurie was not inside the vehicle at the time it was burnt. A hand-rolled cigarette was on the ground near the car, and a gas can was also found close by in the woods. This horrified Laurie's family, and they were almost certain now that something very bad had happened to her. Investigating the information Ennis provided to Arlene was their only clue at the time. When Ennis was brought in for questioning, he repeated the same story he told Arlene, only adding more details this time. He claimed that he and Laurie grew marijuana together, suggesting she might have gone off to sell her share of the weed they grew. He also added that Laurie could have been dealing with shady people. Police raided Laurie's trailer. However, even after a thorough search, the police were unable to find any evidence of Laurie dealing drugs. During the interview, investigators also took note of several scratches on Rick's hands and arms, which he claimed came from his dog. More concerning things came to light when investigators talked to Lindsay. According to Lindsay's account, she had heard Rick Ennis speaking in the background when she and Laurie last spoke on the phone the day she vanished. Since Ennis was known to be a friend of Laurie, Lindsay did not think much of it at the time. Lindsay claimed that when she texted Rick inquiring about Laurie's whereabouts, he said that she was fine when he left her. Lindsay also informed the investigators that before her disappearance, Laurie had told her that Rick had written a love letter to her, feelings that were not reciprocated. Laurie had mentioned she was not romantically attracted to Rick and was planning to discuss it with him. Investigators found out that Ennis told her friends about his letter and Laurie's rejection. When police re-interviewed him, confronting him with the new information collected from Lindsay, he admitted meeting her hours before her disappearance but insisted that Laurie was fine and was preparing to go to the store when he left her house. However, investigators discovered several inconsistencies in his statement. They began focusing on Rick Ennis as their prime suspect. Their suspicion only grew stronger after searching his car, finding several items of interest, including a knife, cleaning supplies, and handcuffs. To gather more evidence, investigators delved into his past, uncovering a shockingly dark history. Ennis had murdered his mother and stepfather when he was only 12 years old. On March 3, 1993, just 10 months after their marriage, Ennis beat his mother to death with a baseball bat after shooting her in the face in their trailer in North Montgomery, Alabama. He similarly murdered his stepfather with a shotgun. After the murders, he revealed his plans to kill his stepsisters, which shocked investigators. Although his past murders were gruesome, due to his age at the time, he could not be tried as an adult. He spent 9 years in jail for the double murder. After his release, he moved to Auburn, where he met Laurie. Following Laurie's disappearance, Ennis became the prime suspect, but without direct evidence or Laurie's body, charging him for her murder was impossible. Ennis left Auburn, moving elsewhere and eventually settling in Huntsville, Alabama in 2007. By then, Laurie's case had gone cold. Even after moving to Huntsville, Ennis remained the prime suspect. Investigators reopened Laurie's case in 2016, and Agent Mark Whitaker of the Alabama State Bureau of Investigation, along with his team, started reinvestigating. Ennis remained their main suspect, given his past, but without more evidence or a body, proving his guilt was challenging. In a surprising turn, Agent J.W. Barnes discovered a crucial piece of evidence while reviewing the case files. He discovered a report in an envelope that had not been opened for 10 years. After Laurie's disappearance in 2006, police collected evidence from the trailer, but no one followed up with it until the results came in. The results showed that semen found on Laurie's bed sheet and blood on the interior side of the front door contained Rick Ennis DNA. After organizing all the evidence, investigators built a strong case against Rick Ennis and were eventually able to get an indictment order in 2018. By this time, Ennis was happily engaged to a school librarian named Elena Atkinson and was living in Pilot, Virginia. There, he was working for a company that designed and built portable living structures called Years. On August 6, 2018, on his 38th birthday, 12 years after Laurie Slasinski went missing from Auburn, Rick Ennis was arrested by a task force of U.S. Marshals. While it came as a relief to Laurie's family, Ennis's fiancée and co-workers were shocked by this turn of events. After being arrested on 2 counts of capital murder, his trial was postponed due to COVID-19. The trial finally began on April 1, 2022. While the prosecution presented all the evidence that suggested Ennis's involvement in the crime, including the cigarette but in Laurie's bedsheet containing his DNA, the defense argued that police could have taken the cigarette from Ennis' home and planted it at the crime scene. They also attacked Lasinski's character by trying to portray her as a drug dealer. To explain how his DNA got on the bedsheet, Rick claimed that he had consensual sex with Laurie before her disappearance, suggesting that they were still intimate despite Laurie's rejection of his advances. However, his story did not seem very convincing, especially when 2 more witnesses came forward with jaw-dropping information. One of his former co-workers in Alabama, Jeremy Brooks, stated that on June 9, 2006, just 1 day prior to Laurie's mysterious disappearance, he received a call from Ennis asking if he could bring him gas and if he could keep the gas tank. Jeremy rejected his request. Later, after police found Laurie's scorched car and a gas can, it matched the description of a gas can that was missing from the bowling alley where Ennis worked. Another of his former co-workers from South Carolina, Terry Booth, testified about the chilling experience she had with Ennis years prior. Terry remembered asking Ennis why he moved from Auburn. Ennis told him that he had to get rid of a body. Although he thought Ennis was just joking with him, the announcement of his arrest for Laurie's murder proved otherwise. Although Rick Ennis continued to deny all allegations against him and maintained his innocence, jurors came up with a guilty verdict after 2 days of deliberation. He was facing the death penalty for the crime, but the DA agreed to take the death penalty off the table after consulting with Arlene. Arlene later said that she felt agreeing to a life without parole sentence for Rick Ennis would save her from years of potential appeal hearings, but would also ensure that Ennis would never be free. On April 14, 2022, he was sentenced to life without parole. He remains incarcerated in William E. Donaldson Correctional Facility in Bessemer, Alabama. For Arlene Slasinski, the outcome was bittersweet. With tears in her eyes, she shared that it meant she had to finally accept that Laurie was never coming home, an incredible hope that a portion of her heart always clung to. Let us know in the comments section what your thoughts are on this tragic case. Do you think Rick Ennis will ever give up the location of Laurie's remains?